I know the strength that Black Lives Matter had in this last election. I know it's a group that it doesn't like the old-fashioned family.
How dare you say that Black Lives Matter, Black people do not understand old-fashioned families. Despite some of the issues, some of the things that you have put forward that I've heard out of your mouth in the Oversight Committee, in your own district, we have been able to keep our families alive for over 400 years, and the assault on our families to not have Black lives or not even have Black families. How dare you say that we are not interested in families in the Black community? That is outrageous. That should be stricken down.
Joining me now is Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett of the U.S. Virgin Islands, a dragging for all the world to see. And Congresswoman, do you want to share with us, like, what kind of things does this guy say in your committee meetings?
Oh, well, you know, if you just look up Glenn Grothman, he has a history of making remarks about, you know, welfare mamas and just very, very racist remarks throughout his time. When he was even in the state legislature in Wisconsin, and then, of course, in the committee. But as you can
maybe
see,
this is.
I was going to say, just with many Republicans, what they used to say in kind of coded message is no longer being coded. They're just being very blatant about what they say.
Clearly. Here's a little bit more Glenn Grothman. Maybe this is some of the stuff you're talking about. Here he is attacking the relief bill's help to minority farmers, because who would want that?
We have loan forgiveness on farms based on ethnicity. Okay, some people are going to get a forgiveness, some people aren't. I think that's incredibly divisive. I think we started out with a divisive inaugural speech right off the bat, and to go down this route is only going to create divisiveness in America.
I don't know what he could have thought was divisive in Joe Biden's inaugural speech, other than that he was against, like, racism. But you kind of got to what I wanted to ask you. Are you seeing, just in dealing with some of these Republican members, that there is a lot more blatant, really ugly talk about race? And do you get a sense that the attitudes have changed and gotten, you know, worse, or that people are just more open about it?
I think they're just more open. They're more comfortable. It came from the divider in chief, Donald Trump, for 4 years. He got away with it. And so they think that this is part can engage in this kind of discussion, even what he just talked about with farmers. We all know that Black farmers have been discriminated against throughout their time, that they have gone from farming large tracts and a larger percentage of farming in America to a minuscule amount, and the support that they need has to be there to grow our economy. This bill, and that's what I went to the floor about, to talk about how this bill was really going to equalize things, how there was equity, how this is going to raise tens of millions of children out of poverty. And you hear something like Grothman speaking, and there's no way you cannot say something.
Yeah. Speaking of Trump, here is some audio that the Wall Street Journal is released this afternoon of a December call between him and the Georgia Secretary of State, the state investigator, where he was urging basically them to find him more votes. Take a look.
I won Georgia, I know that, by a lot, and the people know it. And, you know, something happened there. I mean, something bad happened. If you can get to Fulton, you're going to find things that are going to be unbelievable, the dishonesty that we've heard from them.
Right.
You know, just good sources, really good sources. But Fulton is the mother lode, you know, as the expression goes. Hopefully, you know, I will, when the right answer comes out, you'll be praised.
So he goes right to Fulton, which is, of course, where the Black folks live, outside of Atlanta. What do you make of that as a former impeachment manager, him begging her to go back to Fulton, go back 2 years and find alleged fraud so that he could overturn the result?
Sure. I think this is just an example of what we're going to see trickling out over a period of time moving forward. We're hearing it in Georgia. I'm sure we're going to get more information about what he attempted to do in Pennsylvania, in Arizona. I'm sure that this is not going to end. And that's one of the things that we were trying to speak to those senators about, was that, listen, this is the evidence we have here now, but history is going to unfold even more. And where are you going to be at the end of that unfolding, of that revealing of who this man really was and the assault that he was attempting to make on our democracy and on our election system? In that same tape, you'll hear him talk, of course, he has to mention Stacey Abrams. The fact that Black people organized, that they exerted their constitutional right to vote is just something that he cannot withstand.
Yeah, well, bad news for him is that a Black woman in Georgia and a Black woman in New York are both investigating him. And that might not go too well for him. Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett, thank you so much. And thank you for always serving. We appreciate you serving when it needs to be done. That is tonight's Read Out. Nicole Wallace is next with an MSNBC